Hello, very good evening, and welcome to this PSGL evaluation race here at Spa. My name is Jake, and I'll be guiding you through the action, through this qualifying session, and indeed the race itself. We've got 16 drivers on the grid for this evaluation race tonight, and this is just about seeing the pace of the respective drivers in order to determine what league they should be racing in for the upcoming season. Got some familiar faces that I do recognise here. We've got the likes of Pit Matt, we've got Harry, AMS, Dumlios is another driver I recognise, Frederick too. Some drivers I don't recognise as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they all stack up on this still relatively new game. We'll have clear weather for the qualifying and the race, just so there's no issue with weather determining who's quick and who's not. And we've got 16 minutes for this qualifying session still ahead of us. Get to know the drivers as the qualifying and race develop. And hopefully you all enjoy this race tonight. Should be a good one. Try to see who's about closest to starting a lap, and we'll go on board with them. Let's have a look at Ty's. About to come up to the bus stop chicane to start their lap. In the Williams, it's equal performance as well, obviously. It would be an evaluation race, no point having it on performance spec. And we'll see how Ty's gets on. Head it for a Rouge then. First onboard lap. A Rouge a lot easier to navigate on this game. There's a lot less risk of a rear end snatching on you, I've found. Certainly for someone of my driver level anyway. Through this difficult little sector. Just struggling to control the rear end of the car a bit there. Now into this downhill braking zone. Oh, we turned in very early, but that did mean he lost a little bit of speed through the middle of the corner. Now into the corner with no name, that was hooked up pretty nicely. And now towards Pouon, definitely I think the most difficult corner on this track. Too much curb and you'll lose the rear end! And that's exactly what Ty's has done there. And he's into the wall. He tried to gather it up, but the car snapped on him again. And that will be the end of his lap. I'm going to follow Pit Matt because I believe he was also quite far into his lap. Just this last sector to navigate, mostly flat out through these corners, including Blanchimont. The next heavy braking zone will be the bus stop chicane. Brakes in nicely, does miss the first apex a little bit, but it's all about carrying the momentum as Bad Boy Keza sets the opening lap time, which is a tenth quicker than what Matt has managed to achieve. See who else is about to finish a lap. This is Willows, who's about to complete a lap. I don't know if the car in front of him is also on a lap. He is indeed. But significantly faster is Willows than his AlphaTauri teammate for this evening. Some drivers opting to go out on the medium compound tyres to get a sighter. Patuka goes into third, ahead of AMS. And we've got Brandon here just coming around the last few corners. I don't think he must have made a mistake somewhere because it looks like he's building up to a lap. So that lap won't be representative. We've got Frederick, who, from what I've seen of him in the past, is a very, very capable driver. So I'm interested to see what his opening lap time is. It's a 1:43.0, which is only good enough for 6th at the moment. As Mimilu, I think that's how you say that, goes into third on a 1:42.2. Don't really know what sort of lap times to expect here tonight. I don't know what good lap time is. I would suggest a 1:41 is reasonably competitive though. carrying last sector, but he's on the slower tyre, so we'll see what TNR Steph can do. Goes into 5th. His opening lap time. 11 viewers already, thank you very much for joining me for tonight's race. We've got another evaluation race coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, so be sure to tune in for that one as well. I'm sure there'll be plenty of good racing in that too. Once again at Spa. A very good track to assess both driver performance and wheel-to-wheel combat. We've got anybody who's going for another lap? I don't think so. So yeah, they've all done their lap. Tyes is back out on track after that early spin. Hello, hello Bolts, welcome to the stream, and a lot of support for Frederick and Steph as well from Halvor in the chat. Both in the top 10 at the moment. It is very early days though. We've got Delta here who's on a lap in the Alfa Romeo. Oh, that was a bit too much curve there. Don't think that'll have invalidated his lap time, but it definitely unsettled the car. Takes a very wide line in. Not the worst thing to do around there, because you hooking up the exits just as important, but that's definitely not the line you want, and I'll be massively shocked if that lap time is able to stand. He may have taken some damage as well with that. Delta looks a little bit unsettled in this early lap, it has to be said. I think in terms of Ishia's handling model, it's more evolution rather than revolution. From my personal experience, although I'm probably not anywhere near the standard of some of these drivers, I found that you definitely can have a lot more confidence on the brake pedal compared to what you had on the last game. So I think the improvements they have made are definitely paying dividends. No, I don't think the curbs are quite as lethal either. But there are still some that can catch you out, especially as we saw earlier at Puom. Yeah, as expected, Delta's lap time was indeed invalidated. Mimilou just mentioning that he has a default setup. That's a very decent lap time then, up in 3rd at the moment. A mistake then, obviously with Part Ferme on, they won't be able to change that now. I'm sure that'll be taken into account now when placings are made. Clearly Mimilou is a quick driver. What have we got here? So we've got Ties who's in the last sector. Looks like they've got round the lap a lot better this time. See what the Williams can do. Not a driver I've come across before. I don't know if he's new to PSGL, but it's not a name that I recognise. It's a very smooth line through the bus stop chicane, and Ties goes into 6th place for the moment. See what AMS can do. AMS is someone who I would expect more from. Obviously I don't know the ability level of this grid tonight in general, but AMS has historically had some very good performances on PSGL and is usually a very strong contender, so I would expect good performance from him tonight. Who have we got who's on a lap? Crack. Well, obviously Crack's lap time must have been invalidated. We've got here Dion Null in the Red Bull. Let's go on board with a Red Bull driver. It's a tricky little circuit to navigate, and obviously with being such a long lap, there's plenty of areas for you to lose and an equal measure gain time across the lap. There are other tracks that are shorter where if you make a mistake, you're pretty much better off bailing out the lap, but around here you might as well continue on with it, because you never know, you can gain the time up through the rest of the lap. That was quite wide there through there. You may be lucky to get away with that. As Bad Boy Keza drops his lap time down a bit more, there's a 1:41.6. And Pit Matt has actually just improved as well, and is only 5 thousandths of a second slower than him. So that's P2. Remains for Matt, but no one at the moment can get overly close to those 2 lap times. What's Dion Null managed to do at the end of his lap? Well, his lap time stand is the first thing. It has, but it's only 11th at the moment. What's AMS up to? Of course, teammate of Dion for tonight. Much better for the middle sector, so this should get right up at the sharp end this lap time. A bit of traffic ahead, but I don't think that'll affect them. I don't think they'll catch it up in time. And they've got out of the way anyway. That's good driving that from Delta. Through the last couple of corners, hooked up pretty nicely. AMS is definitely going to improve. Where does he go? He goes up to 3rd on 42.1, still half a second off of the main pace, but that's a bit more like it from AMS. We've got Steph here who's improving, and Steph up to 4th on a 42.2. Indeed, Tom, that's good luck from AMS. So back him to do quite well in this field, although, like I said, I know little about some of the drivers on the grid. But just half a second off the pace. What have we got at the moment then? We've got Domlios on an out lap. Harry is finally out on soft tyres. He's been on mediums up to now. If we've got anyone who's on a quick lap, I wonder. We've got, let's follow Mimilou round. Says he's got the default setup on. Despite that though, he showed some good early pace. Let's see if he can find a bit more time on his second flying lap. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him again, but it's AMS, I'm sure he'll stay right out. Oh dear. Oh, I think that was a massive misunderstanding. It looked to me like Mimilou was going for the slipstream there, and AMS was trying to get out of the way. I don't really understand why you'd go for the slipstream there. You wouldn't really gain any time doing that. It's not a big enough straight, I don't think. Well, that was a clear misunderstanding between the two of them, and that's ruined Mimalou's lap, and he'll have to get back to the pits. Like I said, I'm not sure if that was any of either driver's fault. It just to me looked like there was a misunderstanding. Like I said, I personally wouldn't try and get a slipstream in that part of the track. I don't think it's worth the time you risk. Let's follow Domlios round. He's done a personal best in sector 1. Bit of a correction on the exit of Puon there, I think. Turned in quite early there. He's ran a little bit wide. He's improving, but he's not improving by a lot. Oh, and he's lost the back end of a car, and that's ruined his lap. So he won't be improving on that lap time for now. Let's follow his McLaren teammate. Harry up for a Rouge. Onto the Kemmel straight now. There's a racing point there that's keeping well out the way. I believe that's Patuka. 30.2 per sector. I think that's a little bit off the outright pace. He may be running a little bit more wing than some of the cars at the sharp end. Of course, there's a very much compromise on setup round here, because you want good straight line speed, but you also don't want to have a dog of a car through this very technical middle part of the lap. Looks pretty smooth from Harry. I don't know if it's quick, but it's definitely, there's no dramas. We're a little bit wide through there. Got another car ahead that hopefully will keep well out of the way. And does indeed. I'm going to think that might have been tyres, I think it was. And what can Harry do now? Up to the bus stop chicane. Brake about 100 metres before the corner, turn it in. Clip both apexes nicely. What's this going to do for Harry? It's a 1:44.0. It's only good enough for 15th, sorry, 13th at the moment. He'll want to find a bit more time than that. Let's see what Crack's up to. Well, that's not what he'd want to be up to. Losing it at the exit of Poo-on. We've already seen a couple of drivers have problems through there. He's yet to do a flying lap, and he looks like he's struggling a little bit out there to get a lap in. That boy Kezza's about to start a lap. We've just got 1 minute of a session left, so these will be the final flying laps of this qualifying session. And everybody is out on track, preparing to do a lap. Let's see what Bad Boy Kezza can do, because I think he'll be one of the first across the line when the checker flag is waved. He's currently on pole, just 5 thousandths ahead, so you might need to find a bit more time to stay there. He's half a temp down in sector 1, but it's very difficult to gain or lose too much time there. This is a sector where he'll need to try and find the time. Let's go on board with the Mercedes driver. A small lock up there, but I don't think it cost him too much time. Straight on the power on the exit of the corner with no name. Now into Poo-on. Turned in very, very nicely there. A little clip of a curb, but nothing to do and settle the car. Now flicks it into the medium speed right-hander, hooking up the corners very, very nicely here. Can see why he's right at the sharp end here, and he has found a couple of attempts in the middle sector. No surprise there, it looked very, very neat indeed. And Kezza now just coming through the last couple of corners now. It's foot to the floor, right up to the bus stop chicane. Got to pick your braking point carefully, you don't want to run too deep into the corner. He gets it turned in nicely, hits both apexes, that looked pretty perfect. He's going to improve, surely. Yes, he does, a 1:41.2, that's a seriously impressive lap time. Can anyone do anything about that? AMS has had an issue. Who we got who's close to finishing their lap? We've got Willows here, currently in 8th. They are on a personal best lap. Just got a couple of corners left to navigate. Patuka has managed to go up into 3rd, also into the 1:41s. What can Willows do here? Round the last few corners, looks very neat and tidy. It's going to be an improvement. It's only up to 7th, but he improved by 0.6 of a second. We've got Steph, who's also on a personal best lap. AMS we know is not going to improve, so if Steph can find improvement, he should be pretty safe in 4th. There's not many people out there. What can Steph do? Across the line is up to 4th and only just off P3. That was a good effort. Also into the 1:41s. Mimilou doesn't look like they're on a lap. Got Dunlios who's across the line. I think that's pretty much everyone who's on a flying lap now. Done, unfortunately for Mimilou, that looks like that standard setup is costing them a little bit of time. But it's Bad Boy Kezza who takes a pretty dominant pole position, it has to be said. A 1:41.2 is a very quick lap. 4 attempts quicker than Matt in 2nd. Got Patuka in 3rd, we've got Steph in 4th, we've got AMS in 5th. He's got a grid penalty. I wonder if that's for the contact that he had with, I forget who it was. It was Mimilou actually. It was Mimilou, the guy who's actually going to jump in because of that. So we'll have Mimilou in 5th, Frederick will be in 6th, Willow 7th, we'll have Tyes in 8th, Dunlios in 9th, and AMS will start in 10th. But that pace from Bad Boy Kezza is definitely not to be sniffed at. He is looking a considerable threat. Harry suggesting he thinks he'll be in the lowest tier this season. You don't know. Who knows? Your race pace could be better than your qualifying pace. You don't win any points for qualifying. And I'd say you looked a lot smoother than a few of the drivers I saw there. So, you know. To be first you've got to finish. And this is a track that can test even the best of drivers. So we're not far away from the start to the race here. I believe there'll be a formation lap. Yep, so we're away for formation lap, so just quickly let's have a look, so I want to see what tyres everyone has fitted. Right, so the top 10 of course have to start on the tyres they qualified on. Further down the field though, we've got Harry, who mentioned his lack of pace. He started on the hard tyre, that's an interesting strategy. And then we've also got Carter Boy and Carlis Burl, who I don't believe took part in qualifying. They are starting on the medium compound tyre. Based on what I remember from the previous game and what I've driven on this game, it should be a pretty simple one-stop race. I imagine softs to mediums would be the optimum strategy. Obviously Harry will be going for something different, maybe going for a slightly longer hard stint and then switching to the soft tyres at the end. Kez has certainly got the foot down on this formation lap. Play around with the options while we're on the parade lap. So Bad Boy Keza will leave him away from pole. Matt in second. As I mentioned, after qualifying, AMS drops 5 places after that grid penalty. A little bit harsh, I would say. For me, it was just a misunderstanding between the two drivers. See what he can do from that position on the grid. They're just lining up now. Well, the longest formation lap of the season, of course, with Spa being an incredibly long circuit. But the cars are lining up now, and hopefully it gives me a good camera angle for the start of the race. What on earth is it? There we go. Right, here we go. So 5 lights. And we're going to be away for the evaluation race here on PSGL. It's Spa and we are underway. It's like a pretty good start from AMS there at the back. Keza got away well at the front and there's already a crash at the back. I believe that's Tyes who's gone off, and Harry. Oh, and there's absolute carnage going into turn 1, and Matt's taking the lead from Keza. Patuka's in 3rd. Got Mimilou into 4th. It looks like the likes of Frederick, maybe Harry as well, were involved in that at the start. And we've got, I think that's AMS right behind Dunley. Dunley's had an excellent start, up in 7th, and they're all slipstreaming each other down the Kemmel Straight. We've got Steph, who I think is defending from Mimilou. We've got Alfa Romeo down the inside. Delta, that is up into 10th place, but we've got Matt, who is in the lead, taking the lead off Keza. Patuka still in 3rd, Steph in 4th. And we've still got changes happening further down the field, but it looked like Tyes really suffered badly at the start of the race. You can see the 2 Williams there struggling at the back of the field, but Matt has got the start that he wanted. He has got the lead off Keza, and now Keza will have to fight and show that he can try and get that lead back. As we see there, oh, that's a side by side between the Ferrari and Mercedes. That's Steph pulling off a fantastic move on by the looks of it on Mimilou. Mimilou's not giving the place up, but has had to in the end. There was nowhere for Mimilou to go, and Steph is up into fourth, but we'll have a slipstream right down to the bus stop chicane here, so I think this battle is far from over. Gonna go on board with the Mercedes driver. That's slightly wide through there, and Mimilou trying to go to the outside, but Steph defends the line, which they're allowed to do, and keeps fourth place for now. Oh, but Patuka got a problem. What on earth happened there? I think that's a bit of a timing glitch that we're having there. I don't think that's the actual order. It's still Bad Boy Keza in second place. Just a bit of a few issues there with cars ghosting, I believe. We've got a yellow flag. What's happened? Oh, we've got a spinner. It's Domlios. Domlios has gone round at the top of Eau Rouge. And there was also another car there. It's Brandon who's gone off. So a lot of drama happening further down the pack. Going to go back up to the front now. It looks like the timing sorted itself out. And these two are battling away again. And Mimilou now down the inside of Steph and gets fourth place right back. And of course their battling's allowing the likes of AMS and Carly's Bill to close in. I think that's Carly's... I don't even know. I was going to call him Carl for the purpose of this. And we've got Cracker, I believe, started right at the back of the grid up to 8th place. So starts really worked out well for them. The top three have pulled out a bit of a gap though, it has to be said, with all the battling going on behind. I can absolutely say Steph is definitely not 1.5 seconds behind Mimilou, so I don't know where that gap's coming from. In fact, she might be able to have a go into the bus stop chicane here. Not quite close enough on this occasion. Bit of late braking, but not quite enough. Oh, a bit of oversteer on the exit as well. That kind of killed the exit there, and there's a great battle going on here. AMS down the inside. Oh, it's a massive lock-up, and Carl will get the switch back. That's a fantastic start on those medium tyres, up to 6th place. They clearly have a lot of pace. We didn't see what they could do in qualifying, but already up to 6th place in the race, and nothing seems to be able to stop them at the moment. AMS, though, with the slipstream, is going to try and come back up the inside. They're going to be side by side. Does AMS dare brake later? Not quite. And Steph has got back passed into 4th place as well while that was happening. But yeah, Carl is on the move. Got more action dapping down the field. The two McLaren swap places. Okay, Harry up to 14. And again, I don't think this battle was any close to ending. Steph and Mimilou having a fantastic scrap here. And Mimilou's already got a penalty. You saw them go wide there and through Pouon. And they clearly already had a few warnings. So they've got to be careful of that. Corner quitting penalties can cost you quite dearly over the course of a season. Especially when you put into a league where all drivers are going to be of a very similar pace. Sometimes a few penalties can be the difference between winning a race and finishing down in 5th or 6th. Keza's sticking quite close to the back of Matt for the lead. Just half a second in it, with Patuka keeping a close eye behind. And Keza looks like they've got a little bit more pace at the moment. Although Steph has just done the fastest lap of the race now, so Steph trying to make a break in 4th place. Wants to get away from that battle, which of course will only be costing them both time. Up for a Rouge they go. Is Keza close enough to the Renault here? I don't think he is. The DRS isn't overly effective on this game, I've noticed, and definitely not to the extent that it was on 2019. And for now it means that Keza has to stay in 2nd place. There's no room for him to move through there. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. What is going on? I think we might have some more things. Oh, this is Dunlios trying to pass Dion Null down the inside, and that move's been done very nicely indeed. What? Oh, don't know what's happening there, and I think that's put the Red Bull off, and they're off the track. I expect Carl will be right on the back of his scrap here. Don't know what's happening with the gaps at the moment, so it's not easy to tell who's fighting who. Of course, the top two still very close together. And Mimilou is right behind Steph again. This battle is not ending anytime soon. And Mimilou's going to go down the inside, is he? They are alongside each other, but... Oh, and Carl went for a move, and I just don't think the gap was there. Those two were busy focusing on their own scrap. And Carl tried to take advantage, but ultimately that was only ever going to be a door that slammed shut. Thankfully for him, he's not lost too much time, but he will have to try and repass AMS pretty quickly. Is Keza any closer this time around? I don't think so. And I'd say that Steph is definitely going towards Patuka, but Mimilou has actually passed Steph down the Kemmel Straight and is back into 4th place, and these two just keep fighting lap after lap. AMS and Carl side by side. Who's going to back out first? It's going to have to be Carl, I think. Yep, AMS has kept hold of that position, but down the inside here, that's a brave move. He's going for it. That's a fantastic overtake, I have to say. Credit to both drivers, they gave each other just about enough room. And Carl made the move stick and is up to 6th place. There we go, the timing's back working now, so... There's also a nice battle going on behind as well. Fredericks closed up to the back of Crack. 8th place. But I kind of want to stay with this battle, to be honest, because these two just constantly fighting lap after lap, and neither one seems able to pull away from the other. There's a yellow flag in sector 2, I'm not sure what that's all about. Yeah, not quite close enough into the bus stop chicane. I definitely do think that Patuka is falling away from the leading pair and falling into the clutches of these two. And this is not a battle you want to end up in the middle of. You get the feeling there'll be a change in position again here. I think Dunlios has had an issue. He's dropping down the field. There's a yellow flag in that sector as well. But over a Rouge here. Is Steph close enough to have a repass on the Mercedes? I think she is, and it's going to be quite easy actually. Nothing much Mimilou could do. And Steph is back into 4th place, and that was a pretty simple overtake compared to some of the other ones they've had to do on each other. Frederick is also up past Crack into 8th place, so good recovery from good race so far from both TNR drivers, it has to be said. Saw some support for them in the stream earlier. These two just cannot be separated. You can see they're both pushing each other very hard. It's looking like a 2-horse race here at the moment. I've seen Matt before put in some very good performances. Not seen Keza before, but clearly has a lot of pace as well. As Matt squirms a little, just trying to get the throttle down. AMS picked up a penalty. He tries to fend off Carl's Haas. Is he going to be close enough on this occasion? I don't believe he is. Carl's progress has kind of stopped since that contact with Mimilou. But he's on the slower tyre, of course, so... Frederick has pitted. To those that are just tuning in as well, ignore the amount of laps it says some of the people not on softs have done. I think that's just an error. They have been on those tyres since the start, as far as I'm aware. Oh, and pretty much pushing AMS at the top of Eau Rouge, such as the momentum he had. He'll have to try it all over again. He's got me inside just about. AMS gives him a squeeze, but Carl keeps his foot in there and gets 6th place. AMS tried to frighten Carl a bit, but he's having none of it. Yeah, there's no doubt that Patuka is falling into the clutches of the cars behind. Steph in 4th now, almost in the DRS zone of a racing point. And the top 2 just cannot drop each other. Back on board of these 2. We are getting into the pit stop window. I saw Frederick has already made his, what he'll hope will be his only stop of the race. I think that's Mimilou's 2nd penalty. Of course, let's not forget Mimilou is using a default setup by accident, I believe, so might have practiced with a completely different setup, so easy to make mistakes when you're not prepared for that. As both of the leading 2 come into the pits, so there's no trickery going on there. They both pit right now. Patuka is also into the pits, but Mimilou carries on. So 4 of the top 5 in the pits. Oh, and look at how much Bad Boy Kez has been held up in the pits. Definitely lost some time there. Oh, and Patuka just gets out in front of Steph. But yeah, Matt's lead is extended, I reckon, by probably another 1.5 to 2 seconds with that. So the pit stop phase has worked out beautifully for the race leader. And they come out just behind Delta. And they might be able to get that move done actually down the Kemmel Straight, such as the momentum they should have. Will Delta fight it too much? It probably isn't worth fighting from Delta's perspective, and I think quite sensibly Delta doesn't really defend. Knows that Matt is quicker on pressure tyres, and that's just not his fight. Well, I don't know where this change for positions happened, but it must have happened fairly recently. Carl has got past Mimilou. Of course, Mimilou will most likely be stopping at the end of this lap, so obviously Carl's tyres will be in better nick. Interesting to see what Carl can do on the soft tyres at the end of a race, assuming that's the strategy they're going for. AMS hasn't pitted either yet, neither has Crack, so a few drivers staying out, but I won't imagine they'll be keeping those soft tyres on much longer at all. Does Mimilou pit on this occasion, or is he going to give it another lap? No, he does pit now, and I suspect the others will follow him in. Yep, set of medium tyres go on. Didn't get held up in the pit, so that's worked out pretty well. It'll be interesting to see where they feed out. Obviously, we did an extra lap on the tyres. And yeah, you can see the time that he's lost to Steph ahead. And the yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3, I'm not sure what that's all about. Yeah, look at the gap that Matt's now pulled out over Keza. They were pretty much half a second separating them when they came into the pits. Now 3.4 seconds, so Mercedes really getting held up in the pit stops. And he'll have to try and reel that in now, while also being quite wary of the cars just behind him. I think Frederick's gained pretty well out of the stops as well, up to 7th ahead of AMS. So how long will Carl stay out for? I imagine it'll be around about lap 13 or 14. But they'll make their stop onto softs. And it'll just be then to be about how many positions they can make up on those better tyres at the end. And keep an eye on Steph, because I believe they are closing down Patuka. We saw as the stint progressed that Patuka just didn't have the pace to stay with the leading pair. And I believe up to now, Steph still has the fastest lap of the race. Actually, I think Tyres might have taken it. Looks like Keza is closing the gap down to Matt. Matt's done the fastest lap, but yeah, Keza's beaten that by 0.4 of a second. So Keza will have to try and reel that gap in. It's not going to be easy though. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. There's a gap sort of everywhere you look at the moment. Stops, yeah, position changes. Obviously cars gained 16 places, they didn't do qualifying and they're currently out on mediums that they started on. Everyone apart from that has kind of not really been many changes. Harry and Crack have gained quite a few positions, but obviously Harry did start on hard tyres, so I think Crack's probably been the biggest gainer, that and Carl. So yeah, we'll see where everything unfolds after everyone's made a pit stop. Here we go, so we've got a battle here. Crack just behind Harry. We'll be on better tyres at the moment. Oh, what have we got here? I don't know if there's contact, but Steph has made a mistake. It looks like round poo on, and Steph has dropped down into 7th place. So all that hard work has been slightly undone now, and they'll have to try and fight their way back through the field, and the teammate will be the first person they come across. So they've lost a few positions there, that's unfortunate. I don't think it would have been contact, it may just have been an error because I don't think she was that close to Batuka ahead. Easily done round poo on, we've seen quite a few mistakes around there already, but that's a real shame because that was looking like a good race up to that point. Let's see if Crack can make a move on Harry here into the bus stop chicane. Harry defends the inside. Very experienced racer, of course, will know exactly where to place the car, but there's only a limit to what you can do when you are on older tyres. Crack will want to make a move sooner rather than later, and I think he may well have got caught out there in the braking zone and had to take avoiding action. And that's killed his momentum up the hill. That will be costly. Yeah, right now he should be... Oh, well, has Harry just let him through? I get the feeling Harry might just have let him through there and might have been a bit worried about being hit by him. We know Harry wasn't overly confident about his pace, so maybe he doesn't feel like that battle was worth fighting over. But that's put Crack up into 9th place. AMS quite close to the back of Steph. I do wonder how much that will have taken out the tyres, that spin that she had. There's a yellow flag in the middle sector, and that's because Harry is facing the wrong way. Again at Pouon, the corner that seems to be catching all of the drivers out tonight has caught another one, and Harry's now retired from the session. So that's his race done. There may have been contact with Delta, I don't know. Unfortunately, I think I only caught the aftermath of the incident. Back to the situation at the front. Carl's got a 7-second lead. Of course, he hasn't made his pit stop yet, and Matt is closing him down. Harry also disappointed with how the race has gone. Don't know if it was contact or a spin. Keza was closing Matt down initially, but looks now like Matt's pulling the gap out. Harry had default setup. That would explain the problems. Not the only driver tonight that's had that issue. I don't know if it's a problem with the game or if it's the drivers are forgetting to do. I mean, it is early days in the game, so it's easily done when you're getting into the swing of things. Yeah, I thought Keza would have a little bit more pace in this, and doesn't seem to be quite as happy on those medium tyres. It's all quite spread out now, though Steph is in the DRS zone of Frederick, and AMS is definitely in the DRS zone of Steph. three-way fight for 6th place. It's definitely the closest battle we've got at the moment. But all these 3 drivers have had quite adventures. I mean, Frederick probably had a bit of a disappointing qualifying compared to the pace I would have expected from them. But seems to have fought their way up nicely through the race. Of course, as we mentioned, Steph had that spin at Pouon. AMS has had, as usual, quite a lot of adventures, but is right in there as well. So these lot have already had quite a lot going on in their races. It looks to me like AMS is closer to Steph than Steph is to Frederick. But of course, that DRS for Steph will be a defence mechanism as well as an attack. There could be a little bit of team play going on there as well, perhaps. You imagine, well, Carl is now the only driver that hasn't stopped. I suspect we'll probably see Carl in at the end of this lap onto soft tyres, and then interested to see where they rejoin. They might come out. I actually think they're probably going to come out round about where this battle is, probably just behind this battle, if I had to guess. Let's have a look. The gap to leader. Actually, they could very well come out ahead of this battle. It's going to be close where Carl rejoins. They'll want to for their sake, because if Carl can get ahead of this battle on soft tyres, they can really start a charge after the likes of Mimilu and Patuka. So Carl will be a massive threat in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. Let's just go on board with Carl. No, he's doing another lap. Interesting. I thought he might have pitted. I imagine he'll definitely be at the end of this lap. He doesn't want to take those medium tyres too long. If you don't give yourself enough time on the quicker compound, you probably won't reap the full benefits of it. Still, AMS cannot get past Steph. We've got a Williams in front, it's a lap down. AMS, bit of a lock up into La Source. Now up the hill again towards Eau Rouge. It's important here to get as good of a run as possible. AMS could have an opportunity here. I think they had a little snap of oversteer at the top of the hill there. That may well have cost them, but in fact, we're going to have Steph making her way past Frederick, and AMS could follow suit. I don't know if that was just momentum or if that was team play, but either way, Frederick's lost 2 positions in the space of 1 straight. And Steph into 6th and AMS into 7th. But the way they're bringing the gap down to Carl, you get the feeling that he may have missed a boat to pit to get in front of him. It's going to be very tight. But they are, I think this group is slowly closing down on Mimilu. Oh, what's going on here? AMS! AMS has had a problem. AMS has had a massive problem and has lost a position again. I don't know what happened. Again, it was around Pouon. That seems to be the only corner that's causing these drivers problems today. But AMS clearly had an issue through there and has lost that position that he gained. And that'll be good news, I believe, for Carl, who is now in the pits. Let's see where he rejoins. It's going to be close, like I say, with that fight between the Ferraris. Wait a minute, he's even going to get ahead of Mimilu. That's worked out beautifully for Carl. Up into 4th place, ahead of Mimilu, and can now chase straight after the top 3. This race isn't over at the front just yet. Carl is going to be a huge threat on those new soft tyres. Quick recap further down the field. I haven't really looked at some of these drivers further down the field. We've got Delta, who completes the top 10. We've then got Willows in 11th, ahead of Carter Boy. Both AlphaTauris just outside the top 10. We've got Ty's in 13th. Dunmios is in 14th. Dion Null is 15th, and Brandon is 16th and a lap down. Question is, how quickly can Carl close in on the three ahead of him? How much progress can he make? I think the win could be beyond him, but third definitely isn't, and second could be an option as well. It just depends how quickly he can go on these soft tyres. We'll have to see what lap he does on his first flying lap across the line. Oh, and we've got an overtake here. Oh, it's Steph and Mimilou again. They spent nearly all race fighting each other, and here they are again, fighting over 5th place. Mimilou's been gradually losing time to the Ferraris behind. And now he's going to have some defending to do. Oh, I think Steph thought about it, but thought better of it. Doesn't need to be rash with this move. I think clearly is quicker, although was very eager to get on the throttle pedal there. How do you exit the bus stop? Looks like Mimilou's struggling for pace in this phase of the race. And it might have been what she can do to defend this. Just again a reminder that we have the next evaluation race starting at 8 o'clock. So be sure to tune into that once you've finished with the stream. I'm sure that'll be a cracking race as well. And look at that, that's a superb overtake right round the outside from Steph, and that's 5th place. Mimilou, like I said, is really not enjoying the medium tyres at the moment, and Frederick will be next up to try and overtake the Merc. We've also got an overtake further down the field, and that's Willows going into the 10th place past Delta. So one AlphaTauri now in the top 10. Carl is absolutely flying, only 2.5 seconds now behind Patuka for 3rd place. It's a matter of when and not if, I feel, in terms of catching the car up. And I suspect we're about to see a fastest lap from the Haas here. Indeed we are. It's a 1:44.1. I believe that's around 8/10 quicker than the previous fastest lap. I'll check that out actually. Oh, it's not actually letting me look. Yeah, like it used to on the last game, but not seeing it here. Oh, there we go. There we go. My bad, of course. Yeah, 8/10 quicker than Bad Boy Keza, so that shows the difference in pace between the two tyre compounds, and just how quick Carl is, to be fair. I don't think there's much a Racing Point's going to be able to do to defend this. And Carl's he's less than 10 seconds off the lead. Like I say, 1st place I think is definitely out of the question, but if he can clear this Racing Point quickly, there's no reason why he can't get 2nd place. Let's get it. It's like Mimilou finds a bit more pace when they're near Steph. Like, it looks like he was only going to go down the field once Steph overtook him, but he's sticking to the rear of that car pretty well, it has to be said. But here we go, backward Carl. Definitely the guy to look out for at the moment. He will have DRS to get that 3rd place. We're on lap 18 here at Spa. And surely there's not going to be much Tucker can do to defend here. They'll probably go to the inside line, but I think the momentum might be just too much for the Haas. Although that wasn't a particularly strong run up for Rouge actually. I was expecting a little bit better than that, and that could cost him a run at 2nd place, because he's now going to be stuck behind that car for the whole of this middle sector, and in that time he'll be losing tyre grip, tyre performance, and he'll be in the dirty air as well, unless he can find a unorthodox overtaking spot round here. which he cannot. Yeah, you can just see there the understeer starting to creep in a bit. He's got a great run out of air though. Is he going to try it for a poo on? No, he isn't, and I don't blame him. It's been hard enough to get in just one car through that corner so far. I don't think he wanted to try a second. You can see he's just so much quicker. He's got so much more confidence through the corners. He'll be kicking himself if he didn't get a better exit at the top of the hill. But he should have a good opportunity here. Where's he gonna place his car? I think he's gonna leave it for a dive into the bus stop. He's picking up the slipstream. Is he gonna go for it? No, backs off again. Thinks better of it. Meanwhile, back at the front, Matt's got a comfortable 5-second lead. No one's really had an answer for him on these medium tyres. He has to get the move done now. If he wants a potential run at second place, the move has to be done now. It's a slightly better run, but he's still not overly close. He's now picking up the slipstream. I don't think he's going to be close enough, you know. Tucker must be deploying his ERS in exactly the right place. And those soft tyres will be starting to lose the best of their performance, but he's going to go down the inside. Oh, very close. He's still trying to squeeze it up the inside. But Tucker, once again, knows exactly where to position the car. He's going to try and go for it through Pouon. He's got the higher ground. Surely this time he's got the position, and yes, he has. Carl is up into third place, but Tucker's going to try and look for a way back through. Oh, and that was never going to work. I think better off not fighting that, in all honesty. I don't really see how that was ever going to end any other way, to be honest. Carl had the position, and I think he'll learn out of experience that maybe that was just not a fight worth fighting. And worse for him now, he's going to have Mimilou to fight off for 4th place. And Steph has actually dropped back behind Mimilou. I don't know when that happened, but Mimilou's pulled a couple of seconds out on a Ferrari driver, so that was a change that I didn't catch. We're on to lap 20 now. Carl is just 4 seconds behind Keza. I think that time spent behind the racing point might just have put pay to a run at second place. Still a great effort from the back of the grid, and Carl's definitely someone to look out for with that pace that he has. Let's have a little look then. Quick, I'm just going to have a look at everyone's lap times just for the help of the admins. Owen! Carl's gone round. I think Carl had an issue there, but he's managed to recover it. Just saw that in the background. Looks like Carl recovered in his desperate attempts to get after second place. I think he'll have to make do for third here. So that's all the lap times looked at there. So yeah, Carl lost a lot of time, and he will have to settle for third place now. Let's focus. What's happened to Mimilou? Has Mimilou made a stop? I think Mimilou's had an issue. Dropped down to 8th place. They were still on the medium tyre, so I think, yeah, they must have had a spin somewhere. Poo on if I had to guess with the way it's gone so far. But yeah, Mimilu's dropped down to 8th place. Was running up in 4th. Sorry, 5th even, shall I say. Was running up in 5th, but has dropped down to 8th. In terms of battles on track at this late stage, let's focus on the Ferraris. They may just yet get involved in a scrap. Great helicopter shot there overlooking parts of the Ardennes forest. Oh, we've got an issue here. I think Dunleos has had a problem. Yeah, Dunleos has had a spin. It's been a difficult race for the McLarens today. Dunleos drops down to 14. Right, let's ride on board for Matt for this last lap. Doesn't look to be any battles further down the field, so we'll run on board with Matt for this final lap of the Belgian Grand Prix. It's a valuation race today, and Matt is definitely looking like someone with a lot of pace and, more importantly, a very, very good, consistent drive. Exactly what you're looking for in a championship contender. Keza got pole position, but Matt got Keza off the line, and since then has controlled things. They were pretty close for most of the first stint, half a second apart, but Keza had a slow pit stop. I think he was held up with the drivers coming in, and since then Matt's just controlled it on the medium tyres, comfortably been stretching that lead out. Carl's come through the back of the field, did the alternative strategy, started on mediums, went on to softs, and has made it work, had great pace, and is going to come on for a well-deserved third. Took her pretty quiet, stuck with the top two for a little bit, but slowly dropped off, and has had a pretty solid fourth. The two Ferraris, 5th and 6th, pretty decent from them. I'd say Steph had better pace, but Frederick has probably had the more consistent drive, I would say. Got AMS in 7th, got Mimilu in 8th, Crack in 9th, and Willows completing top 10. In fact, Willows isn't that far behind Crack for P9, so that could be one to look out for. But Matt is now curring around the last couple of corners through Blanchimont for the final time. It's been an absolutely commanding drive, very well done to him. Only an evaluation race, but you picking up a win, you will never turn down that. It's a good start to the pre-season for him, and Matt takes a very well-deserved win. Good performance from him. Keza comes across the line to take second. Carl has the fastest lap and the final spot on the podium in third. Doesn't look like we're going to have any change between two Ferraris. Steph's actually dropped Frederick on this last lap. It's 4th for Batuka, 5th for Steph. That was quite a lively end there. I think Mimilu might actually... Oh no, because Mimilu had a lot of penalties as well, I think. Mimilu does finish ahead of AMS by 8 thousandths of a second. So Mimilu gets 7th. Crack's going to hold on to 9th, penalties permitting. Oh, Willows actually gets 9th thanks to penalties. And Delta and Carter Boy will be the last two people to finish in 11th and 12th. It's been a good race. Plenty of good battles throughout the field. Particularly enjoyed the Mimilu and Steph battle that went on for most of the first stint and a little bit of a second stint. Carl threatened to challenge the top two, but ultimately a spin and a lot of time stuck behind Patuka meant that he had to settle for third. We'll just see Carter Boy now through his last sector. He's still on the lead lap, credit to him for that. He's just got one corner left to navigate and he gets a bit of airtime now. Not really seeing much of him, it has to be said, other than this, so I'm sure he won't mind getting a bit of airtime, and he celebrates with a little weave across the line. So yeah, and that was the evaluation race complete. Like I said, there'll be another evaluation race being streamed actually right now. So if you want a bit more Formula 1 action, be sure to tune into that. given car driver of the day then. I can't disagree with that. He did a standing drive through the back of the field after being unable to take part in qualifying. So that was a very, very strong effort. And there's your podium finishes. Let's have a quick run down a race, quick look at the race order again. And yeah, this has been a PlayStationGL evaluation race. Be sure to keep tuning in to the PlayStationGL YouTube channel over the coming days and weeks. I'm sure there'll be more evaluation races taking place, and it won't be long until the seasons are underway and all the driver placements are known. It's going to be an interesting time to see who's put where. But Matt has certainly put forward his candidacy to be in a top tier with that performance. That's been everything from me. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage for tonight. I've been Jake, and yeah, be sure to join PlayStationGL for the next stream. Night everybody.